Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be covering the behind the scenes stuff of Renegade, how we did it, what happened, and what we had to redo. So, let's get started.
So today we're going to be talking about the pre-production, production, and post-production of Renegade.
I loved the new Mission Impossible movie. Anyone who's seen it should do, because it was awesome. And we kind of wanted to show you some actiony stuff, but also just some concepts that you can reuse for any kind of film that you're making. So then Javert storyboarded it.
Draw out all the scenes and kind of all the camera angles and all what's happening, all the action in the scene, just so that you have an idea of what it actually is going to look like.
And Tom actually covered a bit of that in his recent Prepping for a Shoot video.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, go check that out.
You were really precise in your storyboards as well. I think it gave us much more confidence on the day, because we only had, what, like 2 hours?
Yeah, it was
at the location. They're really kind. P-Tan's, they're like a training place. They have all this cool stuff, and they just helped us out loads. We couldn't have done it at all without them. But yeah, basically you've got all the camera actions in there and everything that we need to know.
Next up, wardrobe. And we've basically got two big racks of... So next up was the wardrobe, and we've got some huge clothes.
So the next thing we had to consider was the costume or the wardrobe, and luckily through all the little films that we've done over the years, we have two massive we've got loads and loads and loads of clothes here.
After the costume, we had to move on to props, which there aren't that many in Renegade, but one of the big ones was this sort of bomb time capsule thing.
Oh yeah, well we actually had some of this before, and some of you have recognized this. Ollie informs me that you've seen the detonator from Rebellion here, but the rest of it, this was actually in a really old video that Simon made, which was based on Deus Ex, wasn't it? I think so it's kind of been resprayed a bit, glued back together, added a load of wires. These are some plumbing supplies. These were like mastic glue with all the glue taken out of the tube. It's then just sort of epoxied together so that it's really strong. And then you just try and get the impression. And then obviously Javert did all the magic on the top here to change this into a screen. So I just sprayed this grey, and I think then you've added this as some form of tracking marker to give you a bit more context.
Yeah, the tracking markers are just made of orange tape, the same one from the green screen tutorial. I ended up using both Mocha and HitFilm's point tracker to put on the UI, which is a tutorial coming later in the month.
And while some of this is metal, actually like this bit here, this is just cardboard. So it's really dense cardboard, and then we're just using hot glue down the edges to make seams that look like welds, and then you just sort of dry brush those edges with silver. The rest is sprayed black. So when it came to the production, we obviously needed a location, and having something in the background that looks impressive takes you halfway to, you know, having that really cool look. And loads of people thought the production value of this was good because we had a really great location. And often if you talk to people and you're just polite with them and how you hope they would be with you, they will sort of bend over backwards to help you, and that's exactly what they did. And we can't say enough nice things about P-Tans and what they did for us.
Yeah, they were really, really accommodating. They had big old containers and showed us every type of fire that you could get. We picked the one that we wanted, and then we kind of filmed there, and then we moved on.
And we managed to get the really high up shots, because poor old Javert here had to climb to the top of this really, really scary. I mean, it was very, very structurally sound, but it just was like going up like scaffolding tower all the way to the top to get those high shots.
It was see-through, so if you look down, if I dropped my cell phone, it would go all the way down. But that was for the drone view shot, which was zoomed in really far to get Ollie and running through the scene.
What was really important is not only were they like checking the risk and doing a risk assessment, which they're supremely qualified to do, but we also were trying to do that ourselves. So when it came to carrying lights around, we had Calvin Serrano working on this with us, and he was like, oh, I want to climb on the top of this building with an LED light. And we're like, no, you know, like, let's keep all the big lights at ground level, not carry them up anything scary. And that's really important, because you never want anyone to be hurt in what you're doing, even to the point if it slightly compromises the shot. You know, be creative, think around the problem rather than putting people at risk, and do a risk assessment, and it will really help you out.
So on to post-production, and one of the major things that we had to contend with was reshoots.
Yeah, it wasn't reshooting scenes that we had already shot, it was just adding in a little bit more story, and I had to storyboard those as well, because otherwise we wouldn't know what we were doing.
We tried to aim for the same kind of darkness in the sky, level of light in the sky. We just went out down the back of the office.
Yeah, the bomb was actually made after the shoot that we had, so yeah, you had to do that all kind of here, and then, you know, if you actually look at those shots, the clever thing is it's dark, but there's very little context of what other stuff is going on, so they do fit seamlessly in. And then you did a grading job on them to try and get them to match up as well.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to grade when 90% of the screen is black. So it's just Ollie that's being graded. We also had Gavin, who was just off camera. He was swinging one of the LED lights to get that sort of sweeping white light that we had at PTANs to try and just match the lighting a bit better.
Yeah, you did really well with matching the lighting. In fact, when we've worked with other cinematographers, particularly Jonathan Jones, who works on BBC Planet Earth, he says that people don't use black enough. You can disguise all sorts of things in black, and it's like gives the shot like a really gritty edge and everything. So don't be scared of there being a lot of black in your shots.
Yeah. Once we had the reshoots and the main footage shot, we had to move on to sound effects and music. So music was done by Filmstro.
Yeah, so we talked to our friends at Filmstro, and we didn't have any music for this, and Javert was, doing all of the visual effects, all of the editing, all of the sound work here. So Javert had his work cut out. He's got other videos to make for you guys every week. So we reached out to our friends at Filmstro. We've got more interesting news coming from them soon, but one of the head guys there was like, hey, I'll put this together for you, I'll sort this out. So very kindly, they put together a track for us and saved no end of work and did a much better job than we would have done anyway. So we've got the cool music on there as well. So you should definitely check out Filmstro, because if you're doing a short film like us, but you want kind of custom music rather than just cookie cutter, you've downloaded it from a website, Filmstro is the best option for that.
Most of the sound effects were from freesound.org, so they were completely free. There's very little original sound in Renegade.
Awesome.
And finally, we just wanted to mention actionvfx.com, who provided the stock footage that you see in the bullet hits and the title sequence. So the title sequence has the classified mission Renegade text, and then it's surrounded by fire and sparks and smoke and all kinds of cool stuff, and that's all from actionvfx.com.
We would definitely recommend these guys like Rody Polis, who's an old HitFilm user from way back in the day, and his team there. They've grown from strength to strength, and if you're going to go and get your stock from one place, Action VFX is, well, it's where I go. I get all my stock there. So yeah, they're awesome.
We're really looking forward to doing more of these in the future. We're really looking forward to doing more of these onboardings in the future, so let us know what you'd like to see in the comments below.
It doesn't have to be narrative stuff. We could cover how to make gaming videos, how to make travel, lifestyle, pretty much anything you guys want to see.
So yeah, as long as you enjoy it, we want to make it, and we'll see you next time.
Yep.
See you guys.
Bye.
That's it.